So guys, I'm here with Rachel LaBatt, and I'm really excited to talk with you because you are an incredible person bringing lots of seemingly opposing things together. So just to kind of get us started, who is Rachel LaBatt?
Hi, I'm Rachel LaBatt. I am Miss International Supermodel. I am also a flight test engineer and an advocate for do both. As a supermodel, I have walked in New York Fashion Week. I've walked for Jonathan Kane. I've walked for a bunch of different designers such as David's Bridal, and a combination of walking on the runway in 5-inch heels, but also as a flight test engineer, throwing on my flight suit and my flight gear, walking out to the aircraft and going down the runway on a P8. So taking the runway literal for both, as in do both with engineering and modeling, using my engineering to help out my community.
Very, very cool. Have you always been doing pageantry, or is this a new thing for you, or which got you started in that?
This is brand new as of 2021 because in 2020, COVID hit and I felt very isolated, very alone, very cooped up, and wanted a way to help out my community. With that, I started working with fellow engineers in our area through Southern Maryland Loves You. We started a nonprofit in conjunction with the University of Maryland. We built breast pump ventilators. We reverse engineered a breast pump to turn into a ventilator by using low flow, non-invasive emergency use. It was a prototype and it was a DoD Vulcan challenge. So we were doing it through the Navy and the University of Maryland out of the tech port in St. Mary's Airport. And we were just trying to do something to combat the ventilator shortage. There was a huge need for ventilators, and there wasn't enough ventilators out there. But there were plenty of breast pumps. We figured if we could have one small part in saving this world, then I'd love that.
Very cool.
But from doing the breast pump ventilators, we also found out there was a PPE shortage, and there was a gown shortage. So all of the PPE gowns, we started making plastic tablecloths that you could get from the dollar store into gowns and sewing them up, cutting them, finding the right style, and then we're like, oh, it would be fun to do a fashion show, do a little runway with these. And that's when I decided, wait, let's get Miss Maryland to do it. Who is Miss Maryland? What's Miss Maryland? What's pageants? I can apply? I can apply. I'm going to apply. And that's what started my pageant career.
Wow. And so you get started in 2021 and you actually win. That's cool. And so now you're Miss International Supermodel, right?
Yes.
So that's basically a title that you get in like these statewide pageants. Is that right?
So after winning Miss Maryland Global USA 2023, I flew down to Florida and competed in Orlando for Miss Global USA. Miss Global actually just competed this past weekend and Puerto Rico won. Really gorgeous, very talented. But Miss USA got top 20 there. And while I was competing for the title of Miss Global USA, I was also competing against other countries for the title Miss International Supermodel, which incorporates 8 different sections, one being talent. And I was competing against Russia, Australia, Bahamas, Canada, and the judges just thought I was fun and quirky and picked me as the Miss International Supermodel.
That's awesome. Well, you say quirky, and I kind of thought that was kind of a good adjective, not to rail on you or anything like that, but only because in addition to being a pageant winner, in addition to being a flight test engineer, you're also a professional futsal player and also a business owner. So can you tell me a little bit more about those two things too?
Futsal has been new to me. It was around COVID timeframe when we started to play futsal. So we were playing with face masks back when Willows Rec Center was still open.
Well, that helped your cardio or whatever, I'm sure.
Oh, definitely. We decided that we wanted to bring more women into futsal. There was a huge gathering of adult soccer players in St. Mary's County with enough women coming in on the base that maybe they played in college, maybe they played in high school, or they just want to come back out and play again. What a great way to bring women together and have something in common where we're traveling while we play futsal. And it has grown so much since then. There's Baltimore, Alexandria, Arlington, Intensity, Charles County futsal, and my team PAX futsal.
Hey.
And we wanted to do a little shout out to the Bays for Pax River because a lot of our athletes come from there.
Sure. So you're part of the futsal team and you're also running a handyman service, right? So can you tell me what's the name of that?
So it's Southern Maryland's Miss Tinker Belle. It's a play on words because we're a handyman service, Tinker Belle. And we'll do anything that you don't want to do at your house. Junk removal, if it's towing something out of your yard, power washing, if you just can't climb up a ladder to get your TV hung, or you need your gutters cleaned out from the leaves, call us.
Awesome. So how'd you get started doing that business?
I got started with that because this will be my 4th year helping with Christmas in April. I really found a passion in combining my engineering skills with helping others, helping everyone in our community that maybe they're wheelchair bound and they can't do a lot of their home work and they need a ramp and they don't have one and they can't afford one. We'll come in and we'll build it for them. I've learned a ton of skills from doing Christmas in April, and I've now been able to take back to my small business, my handyman service, and incorporate into people who need help that aren't part of Christmas in April.
Gotcha.
And then also doing Sleep in Heavenly Peace for the past 2 years, I found real purpose with No Child Sleeps on Our Floor. That is an omen to Ari Fuller. He started this, he was on the P3, and I'm P8, so the predecessor aircraft, and I really love his mission because we're targeting the younger generation who didn't ask to be born into the situation. They don't have any control over whether they have a bed or not. So we come in and we're going to build a bed out of donated wood, mattresses, pillows, and give them a bed. It gives them purpose. It gives them meaning. It's something simple as a bed that the rest of us take for granted.
Yeah, that's really cool. So you're helping the young kids just have a bed, and you're helping the elderly folks just kind of do the basic things that they need to be done. Actually, I thought about my grandma when you were talking about that. She wanted us to have this big decorative door just put on her wall. And here my dad and I are, drilling this thing in the wall. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, man, there should be somebody to be doing this for us. But
we'd come down in a heartbeat and do it. Or a stud finder too.
Hey, well, that's the important part. So it's not coming down off the walls.
Oh, yeah.
So that's really cool. So you've obviously got like a real diverse interest base insofar as, you're helping out with all these different kinds of nonprofits, but you're also building a platform with Miss International Supermodel. You're building a business with Miss Tinker Belle. So probably anybody on the outside looking in would think, oh my gosh, this girl's running 100 miles an hour and doing futsal practices every single night. Number one, how do you have time for all that? And number two, what's the motivation and the reason for why you're doing all the things that you're doing?
I look at futsal as keeping my mind and body healthy because it's a good outlet. So that part is allowing me to have fun and exercise at the same time. The running around doing modeling, that's probably actually the most stressful part because modeling comes with a lot of really bad coordination.
What do you mean?
A lot of modeling gigs are last minute. The night before, I get a text, hey, we need a model to walk in this show and it's at this time and hair and makeup is at 9 a.m. And I'm like, I have a flight tomorrow. I can't do that. So I have to say no a lot to modeling because of the flight. The flight schedule will always take priority.
Sure.
But when I go to work, I've been in flight tests for 10 years. I'm very comfortable in my position. And so maybe that means it's time to take the next step in my position. But it's also a lot of fun to teach and mentor the new hires and bring them up to speed. So that part is very rewarding for me to feel like I'm teaching and helping that next generation of flight test engineers. But the volunteering, I just feel rewarded after helping those less fortunate. I feel like I've done my part in the community. Even if I'm helping one person, that's one more person that's getting help than before. So 8 hours of sleep, absolute must every night. But my main motivation has to come from, I want to say my cats.
Get out.
No, I'm for real. When I look at my cats will give me the absolute utmost love and affection without knowing anything else I do. They don't care that I'm a flight test engineer. They don't care that I'm Miss International Supermodel. They care that their food is on the plate at 6:30 every morning. So they don't care about my accolades. They still love me no matter what. I mean, they're going to be a little mad if it's 7 o'clock instead of 6:30.
Well, naturally.
But they're still going to give me kisses and they're still going to sit on my lap and let me pet them and cover myself in hair. But if I don't have hair on my clothes, then I don't feel as loved. And I want to give them the best life that I can, as I want to give my family the best life that I can. And so if I'm not giving my whole to my cats and my family, then I'm not doing my family justice. I'm not doing them justice. If I can do everything else in the outside, if I can be a flight test engineer, I can be a model, I can be a philanthropist, small business owner. I can do all of that, but I'm not supporting and caring for my cat's needs or my family's needs. then I'm not being the best me. So that ultimately takes priority for me and my main motivation, because when I was struggling growing up with being made fun of or going off to college, and this is going to get a little deep real quick.
Yeah, please do.
My roommate was my best friend, still is, was in her wedding, love her. Her dad took his own life, and I immediately went home and I said, I can't go on like this. I texted both my parents. I said, you guys better never do this to me. And that's when I started strengthening my bond within my family. That's when I got my first cat. I got my first cat, Tara, and that was a symbol to me of, if I can't live for myself, then I have to live for a cat. So I'm going to make sure that I give her the best life that she can have, so that I can give my family the best life they can have, and their life's better with me in it. So therefore, I need to make sure that I value my life as much as my family values me being there. And it went on this whole journey of finding myself and finding a therapist, finding out how to make sure that never happens to anyone else that I love. I never want someone else to feel like they don't belong or that they're not worthy of a bed. I want them to know that they belong here and there's a reason they're here. If my engineering can impact them, and if I go out to build a bed and there's a mother that's standing there and she's talking and she just got this house, she just survived domestic violence and now she needs help and resources, I'm there to give her a bed, but I'm also there to say, hey, here are some of the local resources that we have as a community that you can get help for domestic violence, that you can recover, you can become the mother to the children that they need.
Yeah.
And therefore, I'm not just giving them a bed. I'm giving them hope. I'm giving them life. And it all started because I got a cat that showed me unconditional love and why I'm meant to be here.
And you basically wanted to continue that, right?
100%.
You're like, wow, this cat gives me unconditional love. I'm going to give it back to everybody else. You know, I really love that you're talking about this, because I think that a lot of times people would look at what you're doing with International Supermodel, or they would look at what I'm doing in regards to the County Connoisseur, and they would think, these people, they're just like having fun. They do these things because they just enjoy doing them, and there's no kind of like deeper meaning behind it. But I think that more often than not, what happens is we do certain things to counterbalance others. And so in this case, we try to bring joy to people's lives. We try to bring relationships and love because we've experienced the lacking of that. We want to bring hope because we've experienced despair. We want to bring community because we've experienced isolation. So with that being said, you had mentioned that earlier in your life you were like made fun of. Can you talk to me a little bit more about that? So like what were some of the things that you went through when you were younger that basically made you want to kind of fill those gaps for other people now?
I was never a popular student in high school, elementary school. I was always picked on for being so smart. I was super competitive with test scores, which is why my family put me into sports like soccer, because they're like, she needs to get that out of her system.
Yeah, balance her out.
Right. And in high school, I was a cross country runner. I would take all the AP classes. I was really diligent in studying for my engineering classes, the tech center, production engineering. I really loved school. And my senior year, I took all 8 periods, and I didn't want to get out of school early or go into school late. I wanted to learn. And a lot of the other students didn't find value in that I did. So we had a hard time connecting, and I got made fun of. I got called like teacher's pet, or just felt like I didn't belong with the other students in my class because they weren't prioritizing the same school and knowledge that I was. And if they felt threatened by me, then they would make fun of me, try to bring me down so that I wouldn't feel like I was special.
Sure. Yeah. And so then how did that experience influence some of the things that you're doing right now?
When I felt low and I felt like I wasn't worthy and I felt like I didn't belong, now I go out of my way to make sure that people feel like they belong, that they feel a connection. When I'm at work and when I have a mentoring opportunity with a mentee and they come to me and they say they're not happy in their position, I start asking them, what do you enjoy? What's your background? What do you like to do? Have you tried this? Would you like to try this? And find a spot that makes them happy. Find that work-life balance where they feel the importance of coming into work and they feel valued. And sometimes it's not the work, it's the people they're around. And that has been really big for me. When I look at work, even as an engineer, I'm more focused on the people aspect of it. Because if your people are happy and your people are thriving, they're going to work harder. They're going to want to work for you. They're going to want to help you. And that stems a really good work relationship of, hey, I'm having a hard time with this. How do I do this? And they're asking you. They trust you. They feel confident in your abilities. And now you're always building this trust circle and you're building each other up. You're not tearing each other down. You're watching what you say so that it doesn't come out in a wrong way and make them feel any less of themselves.
That's awesome. So you have these experiences as a high school student. People are kind of making fun of you because you're basically smart and you're working hard in school. And so there's, some kind of differences there. You have an experience with your friend's father committing suicide. And from these two things, you're basically using these points of pain in order to essentially share love and share caring for other folks so that they either don't feel those same kinds of things, or at least when they do, they experience some hope, right?
Yeah.
And can know that, hey, maybe all of these other things are still going south and maybe those problems still exist, but they get counterbalanced by somebody saying, you know what, no, that's not the whole picture. There's other people here who care about you. There's other people here who want to see you be happy, and that's a real possibility for you.
Oh, yeah. I love bringing hope.
Hey.
My biggest advice to anyone is to have empathy. Have empathy in situations that may be difficult, because empathy will help you understand why they're going through things. It doesn't justify why they're treating you a certain way or behaving a certain way, but it helps you understand that maybe because they're being mean to you, it's a direct reflection of their insecurities and how they're feeling, and not to do with you. I've tried to change my mindset of, I can't control their reactions, but I can control mine. So if I have empathy and know a little bit about what's happening with them, then I know that when they snapped at me, they didn't mean to, and it was a reflection of how they're feeling and hurting on the inside, and not me. I didn't do anything out of pocket. I was trying to help, and if they're not ready to receive help at that time, I'm going to back up. I'm not going to take it too personally. I'm going to just care and still be there if they need me later on.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, and that's true. If people want to learn more about you as Miss International Supermodel, or they want to learn more about your business, your handyman service business, Tinker Belle, where can they find more about that?
Or you can actually just Google Rachel LaBatt. I also have my own website, Rachlyn, so RACHLYNN.com.
Mm-hmm.
I have a bunch of articles, and it ties to my Facebook, my Instagram, my YouTube. I try and make people laugh on little videos and share some of my personality. I love doing modeling science, so I'll do quick videos of little science experiments. Anything that makes me smile, I like to share with the world.
Okay. Thank you so much, Rachel. I really appreciate talking with you.
Thank you so much.